What's up, and welcome to Non-Fungible Stories. This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, Non-Fungible Today, and Non-Fungible Tomorrow. And today we are so happy to have Wes, who worked in traditional television, and he worked in different type of series before, and is now working as a full-time content creator in the space. So thank you so much for being here, Wes. I'm greatly humbled to have you here, and I know you work as a professional host in the past. So pardon me if there's any imperfect places.
You're great, man. You did great. And just talking to you, I mean, it's really easy to talk to you outside of, recording. And so, you do great.
Yeah, thank you so much. So it's a pleasure having you on this channel. So before we begin, is it okay to share more about your traditional background with our audience who's watching the show?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Anything you want.
So right now,
open book.
Yeah, right now I have a screen of you hosting something. So I was just wondering if you could tell us more about your upbringing as like a media personality, or the people you interviewed before.
Yeah, so this picture is actually me in school. So I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and this was a show we put on in college. Those were the good old days. I look so young. I look so cleaned up in that picture. But yeah, no, that was just a school production. It was called Keeping It Late with Wes Sherwin, and we interviewed like a comedian. We interviewed, I think, like a neuroscientist, and it was a blast. I mean, it was like really kind of the first time that I got to sit behind a desk and have a fully produced show around me as a host, and I really felt in my element. It felt right.
And so I know that so from what you're saying is that you started, taking courses in, SCAD, right? Scandinavian, School of Arts, right? And you worked as a floor director in like a TV station. Is that correct?
So I started as I went to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, and studied TV producing. And then one of my friends got me a job at WSB TV, which is a top 10 nationally ranked local news station. It's in Atlanta, Georgia, where I live. And I started as a studio tech, and, was like doing studio work, right? I learned how to, mic people and cue people and run teleprompter, and really just kind of put in the time and paid my dues there. And voiced some desire to host, and our program director, or really one of the hosts, reached out to me, and she said, Wes, I think you'd be great. We want to give you an opportunity. And so this was, months before the pandemic started. And so I was getting flown out, twice a month to LA to interview. There's KJ Appa right there. The guy in the picture, I can probably get a better picture of him, but the top picture is KJ Appa, and I forgot the actress's name, but KJ Appa's from Riverdale, and so I got a chance to interview them, and then the picture right below is Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell, and that was one of the coolest moments of my life. Right before I interviewed them, I got a chance to interview, and I'm gonna look up his name because I don't want to say it wrong. Let's see, Silicon Valley.
So while you look up the name, I just think it's a beautiful story of how you started out, in the back end, right? You started out as like a supporting role, helping clip people's mic, helping set up the teleprompter. But as you were able to show your abilities, you are being promoted to, having this once in a lifetime chance to really meet, the celebrities that you have admired when you were a child. Because I guess you're into Hollywood, or if you're into movies earlier on, that's why you're in this industry, right?
100%. Yeah. I was the kid who, I remember Blockbuster and Redbox. And I was the kid who, on a Friday night would just want to get like 2 or 3 movies. and binge watch them and kind of like escape into these like fantasy worlds. But that was when I was a kid. What's interesting is that the older I got, I became so obsessed with listening to interviews, and I became so obsessed with listening to people explain and describe their journey and stories. And I started to find patterns in successful people, in people who have struggled. And there were enough patterns that it allowed me to kind of build a roadmap for my trajectory in a sense. I was able to objectively look at my life and say, these personality traits that I have are common among this certain group of people, professionally speaking. And it just kind of gave me this confidence and almost like delusional optimism that I am going to be successful in the entertainment sector. And it has carried me all the way to your show.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you were searching up a name, right? I was wondering if you got it.
Yeah. So Zach Woods.
Okay, yeah. So that was one of your most memorable interviews, right?
It was. So right before I interviewed Will Ferrell, I interviewed Zach Woods, and it was the first like A-list, celebrity that I had interviewed. And I mean, you walk in, so you're in the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. And, you have a whole like crew, their agents and stuff are waiting out, and they're like, listen, it's your turn. And the second you get in the room, you got to sit down and you got to talk. I mean, it is like, you don't have any time. Yeah. I am shaking, nervous. And I just remember Zach looking at me and being like, Wes, he like kind of took a deep breath. Yeah, that's him. He just looked at me, and he really kind of had very kind eyes, and he like gave me a second to relax. He stopped the production crew, and he stopped, the producers and the agents. They were all like trying to rush me. And he just said, like, you're good, man. Like, you can do this. And that moment was like extremely touching. And so that was one that I'll never forget. But the reason that that's beautiful is because the interview right after that was Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And so I was able to kind of get my nerves out. And I walk into the Will Ferrell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus interview, and I was comfortable, and we had a blast, and made Will Ferrell laugh, which was like one of the most proud moments of my life. And yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's indeed a wonderful story, and it shows that even though no matter how big or how famous you are, I mean, it's always great to be humble. It's always great to be human, right? Because we're all struggling. But you back then, it was like it could be a celebrity crush, right? It could be like, oh, this is my first time, I'm so excited. Like, but I'm so nervous at the same time. And I think at a certain point of time, they might have experienced the same thing when they first started out. So it's always important to remember where you started, right? So going to our next question is it's gonna be about Web3 and also NFTs, how you started, right? How did you get into this space?
Oh man, this space. So there's kind of like my my industry answer that I give, but I'm gonna give you the real answer. So the real answer is I bought some crypto and like watched it, it was so volatile, and I just had paper hands. And so I like bought it and sold it within, no joke, like a week. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I started to pay attention to the industry more, and I found that there was a hole in the market. This was probably, 2019, maybe like end of 2019, 2020. And there were, Instagram pages and Twitter pages for NFTs and for crypto, but there wasn't a media source or a news source that was dedicated to telling the whole story. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell the entire story of Web3 and not just be an NFT guy, or a crypto guy. I want to talk about DAOs. I want to talk about venture capital. I want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And so that's what I've done. So I mean, the first two videos are crypto coins. One of them I think is a good, the icon coin. I like a lot of the protocols behind the ICX token. And I want to say too, like, I am not affiliated with any of these tokens, any of these companies. They don't pay me. I don't earn any money. As you can see, I only have 300 subscribers. Like, and what's crazy is, like, I started that channel in January and we're in March, and 300 subscribers isn't terrible, so I'll take it.
I feel terrible now. I started my channel in November, but I only have 200-ish. But I'm glad that this is happening, because you didn't really shield your channel, right? You didn't do any paid promotions. You didn't buy any followers or whatever. And that's the same thing I do. I think what we need in this space is authenticity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake accounts. Even like the other day, I was almost scammed because there was this Twitter guy who reached out to me. Oh, he just followed me. Okay. And then he has like a white tick next to him. So it's a legit account with 30,000 followers. And I think he was trying to scam me with a Mutant Ape minting. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I think it was some.
Will you send me the account on Twitter? Because I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll have to find it again, because I deleted it. But basically what happened is that my understanding is that these people are buying old accounts with a Twitter verified tick, renaming it, uploading like a picture of a mutant ape or whatever, and then calling themselves like Bored Ape founders, and then trying to scam people.
Oh,
yeah.
And see, that's, the one thing that, like, we're around the same age, and I have learned throughout my time on the internet, if I don't know you, I'm not going to talk to you probably. I like, you have to be verifiable. Like, in order for me to engage, I need to be able to verify that you are who you say you are, or at least there aren't major red flags. And so that is one of the big things with, my channel and my brand is, Ultralight is, meant to shine a positive light on the space, but it's also meant to shine an exposing light on, the darkness and the stuff that is harming people. And so, like the first video there, that B-Rise token, it's the first video that I've made where I showed emotion. Like, it upset me, because what this company is doing, one of the major things that really bothers me is that they created a charity, for helping children who are like at-risk youth and people in hunger. And I found the wallet address, and there were in the lifespan of the charity, there were 3 incoming transactions, and there were like 6 outgoing transactions, and the 6 outgoing transactions all added up to more than the value of the incoming transactions. And so what that tells me is that they're stealing people's money. And they're stealing people's money behind the facade of charity. And, it's hard as someone who is supposed to be objective and is supposed to tell the news for what it is. Like you said, we're all humans and we're all authentic. And I felt that the moment I was making that video, I should be authentic. And I won't stand for people using other people's struggle for their financial gain. And all I can do is use my voice. Like, there's nothing else I can do. Right. But the comment section on that video is hilarious. And I respond.
Okay.
You can click on whatever you want.
Yeah. Let us have a look. Yeah. Scammers should be stopped. Yeah.
Some of it's positive.
Actually, I did something similar to you. A while back, I did an interview with someone who called out a NFT project that was stolen from the original founder, which is the Baby Ape Club. Okay. At first, because there were 2 communities, right? The first community is the community that was scammed by the people, like the person who stole the collection, right? The other community is the artist community, right? So
Yeah.
this community started attacking me, saying that I'm spreading fake news and stuff like that. And this was only like 10 days in my channel. But I just wanted to educate people because my content was very neutral. I didn't say which one is a scam or which one is a fake collection. What I did is I just invited a person who wrote an article saying that, hey, you should look at the blockchain transactions to see which one was deployed first, the IPFS and stuff like that, right? So I commend you for doing this. I mean, if you
Thank
look
you.
at the NFT space, not a lot of people would call out people because you don't want to be canceled in a sense, right? Because influencers too big to fail don't want to be canceled because they're gonna get attacked. Like for people who brought this token, with a big bag, they're gonna attack you. But I commend you for doing this because we all gone through work posts. We all gone through like a project that went to zero. It is definitely not a good experience, especially riding on someone's compassion and
Right.
making money out of it. So
and just for the sake of authenticity and to kind of tell you who I, like Wes Sherwin, am a little more, like I have gone through far more tough life experiences than someone speaking ill of me on the internet. Like I've had real hard situations and circumstances and traumas in my life. They're like, listen, you can say whatever you want to me on the internet, and I can guarantee you that I'm gonna read your comment. I might respond, I might not. I probably shouldn't respond, but I'm gonna chuckle and I'm gonna go make a coffee. Like it's not going to affect any part of my day. But the flip side of that is, like, on that video, you don't have to pull it back up, but on that video, there are comments that were like, thank you so much for the work you've done. You saved me from buying this token. And those affect me because, and even, excuse me, I'm sorry, even if they're like, I think they're true, but those do affect me because that's why I do it. I don't do this for, like, I don't care if you don't like me. I don't necessarily care. I hope you like me. Of course I care if you like me. But what I care about is providing value to people that are busy and people that are interested and need resources that aren't hard to find. Because I think that, like, you hear NFTs, you hear DAO, you hear Web3, and you're like, what is it? And so my goal is to explain the 3 different kinds of DAOs you should know as if I was explaining it to myself. Because if I'm being honest with you, I'm not the brightest. Like I'm not, I'm not the brightest. And like I have to, be explained these things in a very layman's term. And the other big thing is, like, I have found that teaching something makes you learn it exponentially faster.
Yeah.
And that is definitely helpful.
There's a Chinese proverb that says the same thing. If you are able to teach someone else, you basically master that skill itself. Yeah.
And yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. And I think a lot of content creators, that's why I got you on my channel, because I looked up your channel. We met through a thread that someone shared about web radio. And I think it's so, I wanted to connect because you're not creating content like, oh, it's just going to be the next 100x, right? You're not using all those clickbait, but you came from a traditional media background and you know what it is about, creating quality content and, what people need. And that's why you created this channel. So out of your curiosity, can you tell us more about how you started out? How did you start Ultralight? When was that moment where you came to this realization, hey, I'm going to quit my full-time. I'm going to look, because I know you're doing this full-time right now. So when was that moment?
So the pandemic happened, right? And I lost my job going to LA and interviewing celebrities. And so I went back to being a floor director. I went back to studio work, production work. And I just wasn't happy. I was so ecstatic about everything I was doing as an entertainment reporter. And, in hindsight, I wish that I would have appreciated that time more, because I learned how to set up a studio. I learned how to light. I learned how to, mic people. I learned how to edit, how to blah, 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 blah. But I just wasn't happy. So I had a very dear friend, and a mentor who owned a company, and he needed a salesman. And he gave me an opportunity, and he said, Wes, we're in a pandemic. Everyone's losing their jobs. I want to provide you with a source of income as a salesman. And, you get to create your own schedule. Well, I took the job, and I couldn't be more grateful for him, by the way. And I got a year into it and wasn't excited to wake up every single day. I wasn't fulfilled. And I knew that I was approaching the end of my 20s and had to make a decision. So I actually went to the Jake Paul fight in Atlanta, and the day after, I called and quit. I called and quit my job and said, I can't do this anymore. Sorry, thank you for the opportunity. And they were very cool about it. And then me and one of my friends, a business partner, created an animated series and sold it. Yeah, we can go there. Yeah. And so he created this. Zay Jordan is his name. He and his cousin created this show called Buster and TJ. And they needed a producer. And so they brought me on. And, my job was to hire the animators, was to make sure that the project was being managed and to do the meetings and blah, blah, blah. And long story short, we made the show. Sold it to Adult Swim, and then that ended up selling to HBO. And you can go watch Buster and TJ right now, streaming on HBO Max. And yeah, so I quit my job. I get this, and then I take all of the money from this, and I buy, I don't have it up here, but I buy a black magic camera, and I buy lights, and I buy lenses, and I buy that's my old PC right there, and I have a new one right here. I just completely reinvested I'm talking every single, this penny might be all I have left of that budget. Obviously not, but I spent everything on my dream. And so, I hired one of the most talented creative directors, graphic designers to build the Ultralight brand. And here I am.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I don't think people understand the effort that content creators put behind the video. I don't have a very good camera. I just got a GoPro, but I just brought it specifically, for the show. And I bought a green screen, which is just behind me. And I actually have some lights in front of me as well.
Your setup looks great.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we are underappreciated in the sense that in NFTs, you have artists who draw beautiful paintings, and then people buy them with Ethereum, and then they become very happy. But for people like us, our video, our interviews, our content is our craft, right? Those are kind of our NFTs as well. But we're not at a point where we're gonna sell our videos as NFTs because there's another way to monetize. Hopefully, I still haven't monetized anything after doing videos for 6 months. But I sometimes I do think that video content creators, to a certain extent, is being underappreciated. But
what can I call you? What do people call you?
TC, Tim, or you could call me Tim. Yeah.
All right. TC, listen, and we can talk offline about this, but there are some really cool projects that are happening that are allowing content creators to tokenize their content. It's happening. And we can talk about it later, but
yeah, absolutely.
I've been in some meetings with some really strong people about the future of what this looks like. And so, I think one thing I've been trying to encourage you and wanted to encourage you about, even on the show, because it keeps you accountable, is there is a thing with being delusionally optimistic in this space that it will drive you to your success. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. I believe in you and you believe in you, but you believing in you is all that matters. And so this will happen for you as long as you never stop. But I will say this, and I mean this, I have seen your content. I see your setup. You're teaching me things about OBS that I need to learn. And like, you are extremely talented. Like, you can do this,
Thank
dude.
you. Thank you.
I mean, seriously, like you can.
Yeah.
And so I just, I don't want you to become discouraged by the market and by like the Web3 space, because like none of them can make you stop.
Yeah, I agreed. And I actually started with nothing. I didn't invite my friends or family to follow me on my channel. Everything is just organic.
Same.
And I even had this chance to interview someone from Animoca Brands, right? Just a few videos before the show is actually the chairman of Animoca Brand. He was talking about DAOs as well. But I just walked up to him in like a seminar. And I was like, hey, this is my business card. Can you come on my show? So that's the being shameless in the sense that, hey, I only have a few followers, but why not? Why not create content? Why not show a different aspect? And before the show, he was like, hey, this is a different interview. In the past, people would interview me about the token price, when we're going to launch Sandbox, when are we, when is the token going to go to the moon, that type of stuff. But your questions are more about the Web3 ecosystem, the questions about DAOs, right? It's a totally different approach. So similar to you, that's why it's really a pleasure for me to have you on the channel as well, because it shows that for us, we've given up our full-time job, we've given up job security, but we're in here not because of selling tokens or whatever, selling NFTs. We don't get any of that. I mean, hopefully we are accountable. I mean, starting from today, even though we are small like influencers or like that, hopefully in the future as we grow our following, we are still accountable to why we started. We remember why we started. Yeah.
I mean, like, and you don't have to answer this. I'll say mine, but like, I don't own any crypto. Like, I own like T-Fuel on Theta because I stream on Theta and I get like, but I don't own any crypto. Like, if you looked at my MetaMask, I probably we could pull it up if you wanted to. I think I have $1 in Ethereum and I might have like 46 cents on the Binance chain. Like, I do not. I care, and like I do see tokens and stuff that are interesting and that I think will potentially moon and blah blah blah. But like, I think that we are building a foundation that is far stronger than like, here, I'll give you an example. So like, do you have an equivalent like gold was big, right? There was when people used gold as currency and blah, 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 and dollars, and like that stuff changes. But like, people don't look in history they don't look back in history and say, wow, look at that gold that did this on a graph. They say, listen to what this person said about gold at the time. Like, it's all about the people that are telling the story of the gold. It's all about whose voice resonates with your curiosity. And we are the voice for people's curiosity. Like, I think that people who just talk about like, well, if you check out this graph and you look at the peaks and the valleys and like, that's great. Those are great for day traders. But the story of crypto and NFTs, like this is what I tell people. The art side of NFTs is the least interesting part to me. Like, I could care less about the art. It's about the fact that now we have these contracts that are something that, our culture and world hasn't seen before. And the blockchain is this like ledger that is decentralized, and people are like, what is decentralized? And I'm like, it's not anarchy. Like, no one wants anarchy. Like, we don't want total lack, like no centralized control. Like, my example is like when you get on an airplane, like you wouldn't want to get on that airplane and it just to be like community run, right? Like, you want to have a pilot and you want to have like structure and regulations, right? You want to make sure that when you get on that airplane, they did all the checks prior to stepping on that airplane to make sure that that thing would take off. Because if that was decentralized, there would be a lot more plane crashes. So, and so what I say decentralized is that it just means that there's no single point of failure, that you would have to take down an entire community to stop what we're building. And that's what's beautiful. Like the blockchain is run by nodes across the world. And you would have to take every one of those down to turn it off. You can't turn it off.
Yeah,
You know?
and I like your analogy between a Web 2 and Web 3 company, like a airplane company versus like a decentralized whatever company. So after being in this space for some time, what would you say is the main difference between the traditional media industry that you were in and also in Web3? Was it difficult to transition? Because maybe in the past you have like a studio, you have a station supporting what you do, flying you to LA, but now creating your content and even asking people to interview, right, is all based on your own personal connection, right? You no longer have a station to support you. So was it difficult in the start? Where are you right now here?
I do miss like just getting brought into like a program director's office and them saying like, well, here's your plane ticket and hotel room at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. You just go to, but like, honestly, I feel like I have a cheat code. Like, I feel like I have a like hack into this because not only do I understand how to put a complete production on by myself, but I understand like the etiquette of, entertainment that I think a lot of creators don't understand, like the right way to ask for an interview, the right way to pitch content, the right way to da-da-da-da-da. And I just am lucky enough to have that corporate background. So I don't feel, I don't miss it. I am grateful for like what I've learned. And I really like genuinely feel like I have a cheat code. Like it's like, how about this? That industry taught me more about creating content, about running a production, about like having a relationship with other creators and like, people in the entertainment sector. That taught me more than college ever did. That taught me more than an art school that you pay $1 trillion for a year ever. I mean, like if I could go back, I met my best friends at that college. That's the only thing I would go back for. But art school was a complete waste of money. I would never do that again. I would never tell someone to do that.
So, what would your advice be for people who shares a similar background to you? I mean, like as you, who came from a media industry, is looking into Web3.
That's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. I mean, I'll talk and think at the same time. So you're saying like, what's my advice to someone who comes from the traditional media and wants to create content around Web3?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So is that one of your skills being applied, right? One of your interview skills being applied, repeating someone else's question while you think.
100%. And I have the answer. So the answer is take 6 months and be an audience member. Don't make a single thing for 6 months. Don't buy an NFT. Oh no, I take that back. Buy an NFT, buy some crypto, fail. It's the Gary Vee thought. Like, I'm not a huge Gary Vee fan, but I'm also not a Gary Vee hater. I take from him what I find valuable. And one thing that I do agree with, and it's what I did. So remember, I had this idea in April of, it's crazy. This is what is so, hold on. Let me look up when the Jake Paul fight was. It might have been a year ago, like almost a month ago. Actually, I know, no, it was on my birthday. So,
it's a year ago. It's almost a year.
1 year ago, I quit my job, and I took from April until January, and I didn't make a Twitter account. I didn't make a YouTube. I didn't make anything, and I just like was like invested in the space. I learned about the biggest influencers. So I did make a Twitter. So what I did is I made a Twitter and I just followed everyone. And I got no followers back, right? I never tweeted. And I just like took, what is that? April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. I took 8 months to like be a member of the ecosystem. And then when I felt like I understood it, I was like, okay, it's time to unwield or to wield or whatever my entertainment abilities and put them to use. And so when that day came, I didn't feel like I'm learning every single day, but I didn't feel like I was like lost. I felt like I kind of knew, you know, what the industry was. And so that's for anyone. Like, if you want to get into, you know, doing ballet, like, I would recommend watching a ton of ballet videos, you know, before you take a ballet class. Like, at least understand the culture of it, and then, you know, make sure that's something you want to do, and then go take a ballet class, and you'll walk in there a little more confident. You'll walk in there a little more like, okay, I can kind of speak the language here. And so that's the advice I would give.
Yeah, totally. I definitely resonate with that as well. When I started in NFTs and crypto, I started in last year February. So I didn't just jump in with a YouTube or whatever. It took me like half a year or more, and then I started my own collection, started to build my own project, or trying to understand what the spaces are about. How do you promote a project? Then I decided, and it did took me some courage to dox myself and create a channel, because it's not easy. I mean, this space is full of scammers. This space is full of haters. This space is full of different type of people. But I think, as you said, you have to be genuine in the space. That's how I interview people. I mean, that's how I can find people to be interviewed. I think I really appreciate what you're doing, and I'm definitely looking forward. And congratulations on your 1 year anniversary.
Thank you.
On the content space. It's a beautiful space seeing people using their own skills in the past, like media skills that you have, the interview skills you have, and applying it into Web 3.0. And just before we wrap up, I just want to ask you, like, how can people support you? Like, besides follow your channel and stuff like that.
I mean, you know, if you want to go, honestly, you know, go follow my channels, go follow my Twitter, Ultralight_TV, Instagram, Ultralight.tv. The one that I think is really interesting right now, and the one that you're going to get to see me in like my most authentic, genuine self, is over at Theta.tv. And Theta is really cool because they have created like a tokenized content system where you can earn cryptocurrency for streaming and stuff. And so, you know, Theta.tv/Ultralight. But the way that you can support me outside of all of that stuff is, you know, just by like making sure that at all times you're protecting yourself. Like, make sure that you're always looking out for your best interest as far as the Web3 space. Like, don't invest in something that you don't understand. And the way that supports me is because that's my mission and message, right? I guess on a more selfish end, if you are watching this video and you are in the Web3 space, and you would like for me to interview you, shoot me a DM. If you have any recommendations, for me to talk to someone, to talk about a project, I am under 1,000 subscribers. I am under 1,000 followers. I will respond to you. Like, please reach out to me, and give me advice, because I am ready to listen. So that's how you can support me.
Thank you so much for being so humble and very genuine. And you know, it goes the same for me. If people want to support me, exactly what Wes has said. But I think your background is, you know, really impressive, because you're able to get your traditional media experience into the space. So before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to share, Wes?
Yeah, I want to ask a question. When am I getting you on my show?
Okay, I think we're gonna schedule it soon, very soon, definitely. Yeah, that's how I can support you. I'm gonna do it.
Next week.
Awesome. Yes, let's do that. Thank you so much for inviting me, Wes. And thank you so much for coming up here. This is definitely a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah. Well, and so when you're on my show, I'm interviewing you, and I'm gonna tell you, the way I do it is I'm not sending you any questions. You're coming in, and it is just going to be like, you were so prepared, man. Like, I hope that people understand. Like, let me tell your audience real quick. I know we're wrapping up. Okay. Listen. His preparation in this production showed me that TC knows how to produce a show. He knows how to deal with talent. This is someone that you need to follow. You need to give Non-Fungible TC a follow. You need to subscribe to his channel because he is doing it not only the right way, but he is handling his relationships with poise and with professionalism. So there you go.
Thank you so much, Wes. I would love to share more, on the channel as well, for my upbringing and what I'm doing as well.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into that. And I know it's getting late for you, but thank you so much for being here. And
of course, yeah,
let's chat very soon.
You got it, man. Have a great day, and I'm gonna go to sleep.
And GN.
GN.